Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now we've been asking the entrepreneurs to own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, and I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with John Martin, the co-founder and CEO of the Daily Juice franchise opportunity. The Daily Juice serves made-to-order juices and smoothies prepared from fresh vegetables, fruits, and superfoods, as well as highly nutritious grab-and-go foods in a quick service, uniquely cultural environment. And we're going to be talking about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 6 years now we've been asking the entrepreneurs to own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with John Martin, who is the co-founder and CEO of the Daily Juice franchise opportunity. And Daily Juice serves made-to-order juices and smoothies prepared from fresh vegetables, fruits and superfoods, as well as highly nutritious grab-and-go foods in a quick service, uniquely cultural environment. Hey, John, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Marty. Good to be here.
Oh, thanks, John. John, we always like to ask our guests where you're calling from this morning.
I'm calling from our headquarters in Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice. It's a nice year to be in Texas. A nice time of the year to be in Texas, isn't it?
It's unseasonably warm for a post-Thanksgiving, but it's nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. You have a background in franchising, John, which I know, and we always emphasize to our guests that that's very important, is to look towards like the leadership and founders and, what is their background in the industry, what is their background in franchising. Maybe you could talk a little bit about, what you were doing before joining this opportunity.
Sure. Prior to Daily Juice, back in 2003, I had approached the founders of Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas, which also began in Austin, Texas, which serves up drinks and meals at your seat while you watch first-run movies. I had approached them about expansion and joined that group, joined Alamo as the CEO, and had built a franchise system there. And we went from 4 locations to now about to open number 12, with 4 more Alamos going to open in 2013, all franchises.
Wow, that's fantastic. What is it about franchising that you like, John? I mean, I know it always seems like you've had this passion for franchising. What is it about franchising?
Well, it gives the franchisee the ability to own and operate their own locations, their own units. It's a viable model, expansion model, and for 60 some odd years, it's been the preferred growth model for many people. And now internationally, people are understanding the value in being able to franchise and have licensed locations. But I've always seen it as a good forward-looking model for expansion.
That's fantastic. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of the organization, how the company got started, John, and where you are today.
Sure. Back in 2003, Daily Juice started as a small one-unit location in Austin, probably 600 square feet, very small, but it had attracted a huge following from, I won't say day one, but from that first year, to the point where a second location in 2004 was opened, not too far away. And based on the success of that also, a third one was opened in short time following. And with the customer base that it was growing and the brand that it had, brand awareness it had built, it was ripe for expansion. And it doesn't serve, Daily Juice does not serve any meat products or dairy or whatnot. It's all vegetable, all fruit, and the proteins are there. And we put them into we take those and put them into to glasses, whether it's a smoothie, a cold pressed juice, organic grab and go, and that is what the success of Daily Juice has been. It's been offering something that nobody else can do in this type of operation for this concept.
This is a great franchise opportunity too, John. I mean, it's there's so many different industries out there, for franchising, and this is one, I guess, where you're really providing a very important service, aren't you? I mean, someone like myself, I've always had trouble, with my fruits and vegetables, and I know as you get older, it just becomes so important, doesn't it? So, I mean, this is really, one of those great franchise opportunities where, you can provide a very important service.
It is, and I think because of the quick service model that we have, it's great for grab and go. So you can get your produce needs on the run, if you will. But also, it's part of a growing segment. It's a $5 billion and growing market segment of restaurants. And now that we see the adoption in the mainstream, for example, Starbucks acquisition of Evolution. You're seeing lots of juice and smoothie areas at the supermarkets. It's out there. The awareness is out there. And I think we're just seeing the rise of these as a viable concept, especially in franchising for expansion.
That's fantastic. Is technology a part of the franchise for Daily Juice, John?
It is in the sense of accounting and reporting. On top of the point of sale, which of course every location has to have, there is technology that sits on top of that to collect the data, so you can see in real time or polling every 15 minutes what your levels are. How much are you going through particular items, your labor. So 10 years ago, this was archaic,
right.
Or I should say it was at the infancy, I should say. Now it's much more streamlined, and it really helps the franchisee run their business tightly.
That's interesting. What about your franchisees and their backgrounds, John? Like what they were doing in the past.
Well, besides myself, coming from from wine, beer, movies, and hamburgers, we have one franchisee in the system who was an engineer from Houston, and chose this lifestyle because he had some health issues, and leaned towards juicing for his health, and he turned himself around. He's more fit now than he has ever been, and he had no restaurant knowledge beforehand, and that's what this concept is built to do. It's something you can hand to a franchisee who may not have the wherewithal or the background of running a restaurant or a quick serve restaurant, but you have the tools to help and support that franchisee become successful.
That's interesting, and I suspect there's probably characteristics that you're going to be looking for in your franchisees. That example that you just provided with that gentleman, it's you can see he probably certainly believes in the product, that he's selling. Are there any other characteristics that you would be looking for in your franchisees?
I think the ability to want to grow these locations, grow these concepts, and obviously have a belief in what you're offering to the public and to the consumer, the customer base, that it is good for you. It tastes good, it's good for you, and it's truly different. You can't get this on any other corner, with hamburgers and steaks and French fries. This is something that you're able to change somebody.
It's amazing when you can make it taste good too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite flavor or anything that you recommend?
My favorite happens to be also the top seller, which is called the Subliminator. And I bet you're wondering what the Subliminator is.
That's a great name.
It's blueberry, cherry, banana, apple, peanut butter, raw rice protein, flaxseed oil, and spirulina. It's either a meal replacement or a snack, but it gets you going and gives you the nutrition that you need for most of the day.
That's amazing, and that's what most of us need too. It's so many of us just grab a cup of coffee, or you get a snack in the middle of the day, and you feel a little lethargic, don't you? So this is a much better alternative to those options. That's fantastic. Once you decide that someone is a good match for Daily Juice, John, you like them, they like you, what's the next step? How does the training work? Do they come out to your headquarters?
Sure. So in short order, first is filling out the franchise application, which you can find online at dailyjuice.org.
Okay.
And once we receive the application, and if we go the next step, then they will receive the FDD, the franchise disclosure document, which has all of the necessary documents that one needs to get going. Then we require everybody who's interested to come to Austin, Texas, to visit the headquarters and the new locations to see what we're all getting into. And from then on, it just comes down to how many locations does this person or group want to open in their market, and when do we open?
That's fantastic. What is a typical day like as a franchisee for Daily Juice, John? From the moment you go in the morning to the end of the day, and I guess everything else in between.
Sure. Well, let's start with getting your location open. So the franchisee, prior to opening, goes through about 2 weeks of training on the floor, and that's with our operations people and our territory manager out of Austin. And then when you open, just prior to opening your location, we will go to your floor, inside your four walls, your Daily Juice, and oversee training for the first week and get you going. Then there's ongoing support. You take your keys, you open the door in the morning, and there's a book, an operations manual, telling you everything you need to know, which of course you've gone through before you open.
Right.
But it tells you what par levels you should have, just all sorts of stacking for labor and whatnot. And of course it's molded to your specifications of your market. But the operations manual just gives you a rule of thumb of how we have been doing things, how to order, who the vendors are, and whatnot. So it's support soup to nuts.
What about the location? I mean, how much location to open up one of these, and is there an ideal location?
Sure. Well, the footprint that we're looking at is between 800 and 1,200 square feet.
Okay.
We want a high traffic area. I don't foresee us being a smaller version in a food court at a mall, but rather outside in a strip shopping area or standalone. We're getting into drive-throughs, and really it comes down to the demographics. What are the drive-bys? What are the incomes in that area for where you want to put your location? And we sit down with you and go and review the demographics together, so we can both approve it and say, okay, this seems like a viable location.
Right. You've been involved in franchising for some time now, John, so I have the opportunity of asking you, a lot of our listeners we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. They have it in their mind that they want to buy a franchise, but there's just, as you know, there's so much out there today, and I think a lot of them just don't know where to begin. What would you say to them? What advice would you give to them?
To choose your concept smartly. Don't fall in line with what others are doing, because it may not be right for you, but go with a concept that speaks to you, that's something that you're passionate about, because ultimately you want to be able to wake up and run to the office every day and not grumble about it. You want to be proud and happy and profitable in what you're doing. And that I think is the key. The other three things that go along with that are capitalization, operations, and concept. And I believe that Daily Juice supplies the franchisee with the concept and trains you on operations, and then the franchisee's capital is what gets it all going.
So what are your plans for the future then, John? I mean, where do you see yourself maybe, 3 to 5 years in the company?
We have online right now a few opportunities in Dallas and Houston and San Antonio to open up multiples in those markets. Then from there, probably by the end of 2013, we're plan to jump out of Texas into other markets in other states. And in 3 years, we see ourselves on the West Coast in central states. And then by 2015, in 5 years, be out on the East Coast as well. So our plan is to blanket smartly across the U.S.
Right. What's the best way, John, for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee and all the other services that you provide? Are there any websites they should go to? Are there any numbers they should call?
Yes, absolutely. So the website they should go to is www.dailyjuice.org, not .com, but .org. And from there you can see our locations, our menus, our offerings, and also there's a site there, a page there for franchising, and they can pull down, download the PDF franchise application.
That's fantastic. And I want to thank you again, John. It was great talking to you again, and I'd love to have you back again next year as Daily Juice continues to grow.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marty.
Thanks, John. Have a great day. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 6 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott from Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. And today's podcast is being brought to you by Franchise Times Magazine. Franchise Times is the only magazine that targets both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees and is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise. You know, Don and I have been hosting Franchise Interviews now over 4 years and over 200 shows, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. The nice thing about hosting Franchise Interviews is we're frequently asked to be guests on radio shows and magazine interviews on the topics of entrepreneurship and franchising. And today you're going to get to hear an interview that we did 6 months ago on CBS Radio with Lynn Johnson on her motivational talk show. And of course the topic was entrepreneurship and franchising. And here's what we said. I think you guys will enjoy it.
Hey, did you ever think about buying a franchise? Do you think that now is the worst time to buy one? Or you're not sure whether anyone would loan you money to purchase a franchise? How does the whole thing work? Well, let's find out. We have an expert on the line, Marty McDermott.
Hi, Coach Lynn. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's always great to talk to you. I always feel like it's a World Talk reunion, right? We get together.
I know. We started out, guys, a very long time ago. I think we're some of the only people left, aren't we?
I know. It's amazing, isn't it? But it's just, and it seems like yesterday that we started, Lynn. You know?
It really does.
It's just incredible. But it's the success that you've had is just wonderful to watch, though. I mean, it's just incredible.
Thank you so much. And yours has been pretty fantastic. You know, Marty, just over the break, when I announced that you were going to be here talking about franchises, I got a tweet from Alice and a lot of other people, but I selected Alice's tweet.
Oh, good.
Because she says that her family has owned the same bagel shop for over 35 years.
Wow.
But now they're going to have to close because the business has slowed and their debts are too high. She wonders if setting up her own franchises could save their business. So, Marty, I know you're an expert and you host that wonderful show called Franchise Interviews on Blog Talk Radio.
That's right.
Are franchises for everyone?
Oh, great question, Lynn. It's a deep question, and definitely not. In fact, you know what? If I can quote my friend Dr. John P. Hayes, franchising is not for everyone, and it's probably not for most people. And when I say that, you know, the first time I heard that phrase, Lynn, I was a little confused because I said, if franchising isn't for everyone and it's not for most people, then who could it be for? You know, it's but franchising is really for someone who knows how to follow rules, follow systems. They're not a true entrepreneur. When I say that, sometimes franchisees get upset because they say, what are you talking about? I consider myself an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur is really the person that actually creates the franchise opportunity. And, you know, when you're talking about franchisors or entrepreneurs, they're really, and you know this, Lynn, they're very creative people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can look at something.
I could never follow rules, Marty.
Exactly, and they could just create something out of anything, you know. Franchisees, and it was funny because I was in Virginia, George Mason University, on Friday talking about this topic, and one of the topics I was talking about was military being good candidates for franchises because they know how to follow a system, you know. So you really have to know how to follow a system, like to follow rules, and if you can't do that, then it's probably not for you. And so, yeah, it's always a word of caution before getting into franchising.
Now, I know that you say that there are two key factors that should be present before you consider buying a franchise. What are those factors?
Well, it depends. There's a lot of different things. I mean, one is, what do you want the franchise to do for you, Lynn. For example, I'll give you an example. I like Dunkin' Donuts. I frequent Dunkin' Donuts probably several times a week. And as much as I like Dunkin' Donuts and the coffee and the donuts, I wouldn't be a good franchisee for that type of system, because when you buy into a Dunkin' Donuts, you're working some pretty hefty hours.
True.
So one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, what's important to you? You're really taking a deep assessment. And for me, my family is most important to me. So if I wasn't, with my family or my son, like if he has a baseball game one day or whatever it is, I'm going to get very frustrated, even if I'm making a lot of money. So you want to ask yourself, what do you want this franchise to do for you, and what kind of system is the best match for you? There's so many choices out there today, Lynn. I mean, there's like 80 different industries.
Wow.
Franchising. Yeah, a lot of people, when they just think of franchising, they just think of food, but it's actually up to about 80 different industries. There's accounting franchises, there's advertising franchises, there's shoe repair franchises, you name it. It seems like they have it, So you really have to ask yourself, what's the best match for you?
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of research. And, of course you come down to the financials,
yes.
too. And, McDonald's, as successful as it is, it's almost a home run every single time you have a McDonald's franchise. I can't afford one, So the financial aspects are always a big factor as well. I think to go even deeper, I think you need family support. I think that's important as well, If you're married, I think you have to have that support from your husband or your wife before you get into an opportunity as well, because you're taking them along for the ride with you.
I love that you said that, Marty.
Absolutely.
Do you know what you said? You said you need the support from your husband, which would infer that a woman could easily go in and buy a franchise. I love that.
Absolutely. Well, you can see the influence my wife has on me, too, I guess. She's got me trained, Lynn, and she's a fan of your show, by the way, too, so you can tell I listen, but absolutely. But it's so true. And, speaking of women, Lynn, I mean, they really do make fantastic entrepreneurs, I mean, it's amazing. I think for the first time, I teach for Kaplan University.
Yes.
And we have, in colleges, for the first time, there's more women in college today than there are men.
And they're older as well.
They're older, so what does that say to you, is there's a lot of exciting trends that are taking place here in the United States, so.
Now, I wanted to ask you about this because I know that they just announced that even Ritz Camera is going to be closing many, many, many of their stores, and I'm kind of heartbroken about that because I'm an amateur professional photographer.
Right.
But my question is, so how do you know if the franchise that you're interested in is even going to be around in the next 5 years?
Wow, it's a great question, and nothing is ever 100% certain. I will say this, that not all franchises are created equal, and what you can do is, look at the company's track record for one. One of the things that you can look at is their franchise disclosure documents, and look at the history of the company. Some companies that just started franchising, they haven't really been around very long, so you're kind of taking a chance in a way. And you can look at how many franchisees they have and things like that. I think there's certain franchises that are always going to be around. I think McDonald's will always be here. They have like 33,000 units. Subway has about 33,000 units. So those ones are pretty safe. It's almost a home run every single time. So there is always that element of risk involved, even when you are buying into a franchise system. Of course, you can look at things like the market and things like that and kind of make your own assessments. But
so, Marty, with all that you know, because I have 1 minute left, and I definitely want them to come and listen to you because I love your show on Blog Talk Radio.
Thanks so much, Lynn.
And I want them to check out your work. It's very, very important. Are franchises still a viable option even with this economic downturn?
Most definitely. I think, Lynn, and this is going to sound a little weird, is, one of the interesting effects of the recession I see now is some of the best offers in franchising.
Interesting.
And I've been doing this 10 years now. I'll give you a couple quick examples. Some franchisers, what they're doing is they're reducing or dropping a franchise fee for their new franchisees. Now, that's pretty significant because a franchise fee usually goes for about $30,000, $40,000. So they're waiving that. In some cases, there's 2-for-1 deals where if you buy one franchise, they'll drop the franchise fee for the second one.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so it's really, and that's the effect that I've noticed from the recession is really some incredible deals. Even the landlords right now, and I mean, you've noticed there's a lot of great locations available right now.
Yes.
I think, you want to get those locations because, a great location can really overcome bad marketing, and there's going to be a lot of people kicking themselves next year. They're going to say, I should have got into that opportunity last year when they waived the franchise fee, when I could have got this killer location in this particular spot. And, landlords are sometimes more willing to give a great lease to a franchise as opposed to, let's say, Tony Subs, who's just like a regular guy.
So somewhere Tony's saying, hey!
Exactly. Tony's upset. But, so they're really getting some incredible deals right now. I think that this is the most exciting time to get into franchising. But again, to quote you, Linda, franchising isn't for everyone. It's not for most people. You do have to really do your homework. It's not guaranteed every single time. And, not all franchises are really created equal. There are some that are better than others.
Well, Marty, it's a pleasure to hear your voice and talk to you again.
It's a pleasure to hear your
and
voice.
Where
too.
can my...
I think you're great.
Thank you. I love you, too.
Thanks, Coach Lynn.
Where can my people hear you, do business with you, and all those wonderful things?
Absolutely. Go to franchiseinterviews.com. You can hear I think we're up to 160 shows, Lynn, recorded up to this point. Yeah, so it really, when I say that number, it just really, it tickles my spine because I didn't think that there was going to be a market for this or we'd find like a listening base for it. But, every single month we have more listeners just like you, So I haven't quite achieved your success yet, but someday,
Well, thank you so much, Marty. And go check him out. Franchise Interviews on Blog Talk Radio, my dear old friend from World Talk Radio.
Thanks
Marty
so much, Lynn. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, prosper.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Here it is.
Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next week with another edition of Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.